With university fees becoming expensive and rising student debts, even before COVID-19, some people already question the value of a university education.
And that has escalated now that the pandemic has disrupted face-to-face classes.
Well, transforming universities and how we approach university education were brought up at the ST Education Forum 2021, which was in partnership with Singapore Management University.
There have been questions about the value of university education, and the pandemic has prompted even more questioning of these trends, right? Because students are unable to attend classes face-to-face, and so there is further prompting of whether universities need to do more to reform themselves. Our approach has been not to allow external forces to disrupt us, but to proactively disrupt ourselves instead. The model of university education everywhere for a long time has been about front-loading education when someone is young. So you have a fixed period of education, and then after that, a fixed period of work. I think that model is no longer relevant today. We need to have a rotational model of learning where work and education are rotated over the course of your career. That means looking at offering part-time degrees for working adults, modular offerings that can be taken throughout one's life and which can be stacked towards a qualification later on. Second, universities must cater for multiple entry points along the entire skills spectrum and not just focus on the cognitive. So they have to think about technical, hands-on skills, industry-relevant skills, practical life skills, even social skills like relationship building, working in teams, negotiation. These are all very important.
We want students to be able to think critically, to be able to develop ideas creatively, to bring new perspectives to bear on issues and challenges to solve problems. And this, in my view, is best done through discussion, through debate, through working on real-world projects, and often working together in groups. So when circumstances allow, I believe that this is best done in person. But there will be times, like now, when the circumstances don't allow. Let's optimize the learning experience by combining the physical classroom, the virtual classroom, and when circumstances allow, embrace the community, the workplace, the world as part of that learning environment in a balanced way.
After all, if later on in life you will have to deal with future pandemics, then this experience gives you some chance to become more resilient, more adaptable, and to learn new skills after all. So I wouldn't put too much weight on these temporary disruptions. Our focus has to be, if there is any gap, then the next generation, the next cohort will be continuously better than the previous ones, and so on and so forth, and also that each cohort not just being better, but recognizing that learning is for life and you continue to improve themselves.
Getting an education, coming to a university is not just about getting a degree, it's about what you learn. We're here to provide the opportunities, avail yourself of the opportunities, and don't lament the fact that we're in COVID and your learning experience is different. I hope you make the best use of the learning opportunities.
Well, it was a very engaging discussion, and you can watch the whole thing later tonight at 7 p.m. The forum will be on the Straits Times' YouTube channel.
Senior Education Correspondent Sandra Devi is here to crunch the main points from this morning's panel. Sandra, welcome. Sandra, tell us, what are the big takeaways?
Of course, when the pandemic happened, the universities had to go online in a big way. Delivering their education online, but also their examinations, and later on their admissions, yearly admissions exercise as well. So there was a big discussion on the hybrid model of education going forward, whether this is likely to become more accepted, maybe even preferred. And it looks like people have adapted and adjusted to this new mode of delivery and recognize that there are benefits to be accrued. So it's likely that the universities will adopt a more hybrid model of education going forward.
Right. Well, something that I got from this forum was what Mr. Wong said about front-loading education at a young age, meaning, going through the conventional route or from secondary school, JC or poly, and then university, and of course out into the working world. But he also said that this model is not relevant today. So Sandra, why is it not the best suited, especially in these times?
Well, this is something that has come up again and again in recent years, with this traditional, rather expensive 4-year degree route is suited for our needs and our times. Some would argue that what you need is shorter, more nimble, flexible courses that provide just-in-time learning because our digital economy requires us to keep upskilling and reskilling ourselves because of technological advances and because of the shorter shelf life for skills, right? So you need to keep going back to learning institutions, whether they are universities or polytechnics, to reskill and learn new things as you expand your career roles or switch from one role to another, even if you are staying in the same company. So really you should be looking at education as a lifelong thing that runs along with your career path as well. And you keep going back to different learning institutions to learn and acquire new skills.
Right. But of course, Sandra, saying it is one thing. Putting it into action is the more tedious aspect. What needs to change there in terms of, say, mindset, perspective?
Well, you're looking at sort of a non-traditional mode of education here, right? So for example, even not doing your 4 years straight undergraduate education. So when you go for your job interviews, your employers are going to ask, why is there a gap here? Why did you go out and do a startup or go to work or just do a community involvement project in the middle of your degree education? So really what employers need to do in hiring people, prospective workers, is to look at the totality of their experience that they bring, not just the degree education, but also, and their results, but also what else did they do? What other skills did they acquire? What experiences did they gain throughout their university years? And hire based on those skills and attributes and
so
not just qualification.
Approach, right?
Yes, a lot more holistic approach. Yeah, the way universities select students these days as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us today. We've been speaking to the Straits Times' senior education correspondent, Sandra Davy.